Welcome to Ranja facility of Chitale Bandhu Mithaiwale. Chitale Bandhu is a well-known brand name in Maharashtra who makes savories and sweets. Chitale's family legacy began in 1939 when Bhaskar Ganesh Chitale started his initiative. Raghunath Chitale, who also known as Bhau Sahib, started Chitale Bandhu in 1950. Chitale Bandhu became the first Indian company to manufacture machine-made bakarwadis in 1996. Today, Chitale Bandhu is being spearheaded by Indraneel Chitale. Today, OEM Update is exploring their manufacturing excellence in this facility. Hello and welcome. Today, we are here with Mr. Indraneel Chitale, who is spearheading Chitale Bandhu Mithaiwale. He is going to share to us about his exciting journey in this business. Sir, thank you so much for talking to OEM Update.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for coming here.
I would like to ask you about the kind of journey what you had in Chitale Bandhu Mithaiwale.
So I joined the business in the year 2011. This was after I finished my engineering and a brief internship in Germany. And the focus was always that because of my engineering exposure, I was designed by the family to be more in the plants. So firstly, as part of Chitale Group, I worked at different factories from different projects as well. So be it fruit processing, the dairy side, then the product side. And then I realized that products is my calling, and non-commoditized products is where I think there is value creation. So I started focusing more on it, and then I think because of that experience, I got opportunity to create more infrastructure and build it out. And I think you're part of that is where we are today, where this 20-acre campus is getting developed, and every day there is something new or the other happening all the time, and it is always a work in progress because that way we continue to build and service customers across the world. So that's the journey.
Yeah, talking about servicing customers, we consider making food in our culture is a divine work, and you are doing it in a fabulous way. Probably, it's one of the most successful businesses. How do you envisage this business from now onwards?
See, I think as we say in Indian Hindi language or in Marathi language, which is Anna hai Purna Brahma. So it is something that comes as a value that needs to translate into the food. And I think we swear by that ethos where we want to make sure that it is something that is as godly as it can be. And not in a religious sense as much as it is in a value sense. Because the value is something that you will never offer something bad to somebody you consider to be important or godly. So that is the kind of food we want our customers to enjoy, relish, and that way bring those values into what we sell, so that the customer keeps coming back for good quality product.
Absolutely. And after you took leadership of this enterprise, it really took a leap. What actually you did as a magic work that it really turned around?
Well, I don't think so. It's anything to credit to simply my success. The foundations of it have been laid over 3 generations, where I think we just made sure that we did not make too many mistakes around it. And I think we continue to grow with the same passion because that is what translated between all the generations as well. And I think one of the big changes that happened during that time was that we started servicing global markets, because at that time we were only a retail store operator. From that, we now operate a omni-channel business where we are operating retail points, we are operating distribution points, we are operating third-party retail, we are operating supermarkets, we are operating e-commerce, quick commerce, and we are doing business in more than 65 countries. So that kind of width is basically what is enabling us to scale up faster, and to enable that scale is where we employ a lot of automation.
What you said is makes sense. Like going global and making your business development, enhancing your business development is one side. But if you see manufacturing, there is a large leap in manufacturing as well. From 2017, you established one unit, and within a couple of years' time, new unit is also opened. What is that driving behind?
Well, what I have come to realize is that building scale is very crucial for the kind of customers we want to service. So building scale can only come if infrastructure is built rightfully to service and also to distribute. And that is why this whole Chitale Bandhu Vision Park where we are right now is being built and developed ground up. This has been a greenfield project in the making, and we will continue building more buildings and warehouses in around the vicinity with the idea that whatever is made here, with the help of a more collaborative local community as well, we are able to service to the food demands of the world.
Talking about making Indian sweets and savories, we don't see much automation in place in most of the manufacturing space. because we use a lot of traditional way of making food there. How do you integrate these latest technologies, modern technologies, automation into this manufacturing process so easily?
Well, I wouldn't say it is easy. It is always work in progress and it will continue to be so simply because the demand for scale in this industry is very latent. It has not been there for a long time and it will only develop over a period of time as urbanization picks up and demand will continue to grow from urbanized quarters where packaging will be demanded. So with that is where the scale and automation is going to be employed even a lot more than what it is right now. And that is where your engineering team and your standardization and SOPs play a very important role, because the machines will do their job only if everything around it as an ecosystem is also doing their job. So that means we have having the right procurement, that means having the right SOPs, that means having the right environment, that means having the right distribution channel, and making sure that all of this works right all the time, and ensuring those SOPs are complied upon as a culture. So setting that as a culture is where I think more important needs investment needs to go all the time. Adopting automation is just a way of making your life error proof and making human life simple.
Talking about adopting automation again, how do you approach it? I mean, when you start automating a process, where do you start from?
So the way I look at automation, especially in a country like India, where we don't necessarily have high overheads of people yet, we try to focus on what are the highest error activities that can be reduced by simply using automation. So error proofing is what we focus on to, and wherever there is a high chance of error is where we first deep dive into what we can improve. So whenever that improvement happens, many other auxiliary improvements are forced because of it, and eventually those start picking up. And that is when the project viability comes into the picture, because otherwise very often it is still possible that we can do it more efficiently or cheaply with the help of human labor, but quality assurance and quality control and consistency is something that we might miss onto. So we bet onto the consistency of experience and quality for our consumers, and that is where the investment comes into the picture.
Again, coming back to the process, the methodology, how you adopt automation. While we were having this visit to this facility, we saw even equipments you are using, starting from dough making to the further process. We see a lot of imported equipments in play. What must be the reason behind you going for imported equipments when you will have alternatives available even in Indian made?
So I think alternatives are getting developed in India day by day, and the more they get developed, the more we'll procure them. One of the reasons why we invested in a lot of foreign equipment has been that the equipment is designed with food safety and audits in mind. Very often in India, the audits and the compliance requirements are not high, and that is why the copy jobs are sometimes not 100% compliant with food safety. So having equipment which is also compliant to food safety is very crucial, and that is where foreign manufacturers do it better, because they've been doing it for a longer period of time and they understand safety knowledge better, because that's the paramount need for every customer they service. So that is where I think the focus on foreign equipment has been for so far. But I think more and more the way Indian demand is increasing, we are seeing more and more Indian manufacturers doing really great work. And we are hoping that we have to spend less money abroad and more money in India as we automate more.
Again, almost 80% your new facility, what we saw was almost, it is completely automated. Do you have any system in place to collect data about various processes, and what do you do with that kind of data if you collect?
So, see, I think data, as they say, is the oil of today's generation. And knowing data is very crucial, because, especially in the FMCG industry that we are in, it is a very price conscious or a cost conscious industry. So, every penny saved is every penny gained. And that is where data availability and data visibility plays an important role. We work with a third party supplier who helps us with the industrial automation and the IoT aspect of it, and where there are sensors on very dumb mechanical devices like compressors or pneumatics, going up to very high tech PLC controlled machines which are operating very special purpose equipment. And a lot of data points help us understand how efficiently we are manufacturing the product. And this efficiency is what we track as a KPI. And balancing that out is where I think we are able to control our gross profits very well.
Very interesting. And the way how do you manage inventory looks also very impressive. Can you give us an outlook about what is your approach towards inventory management?
So there is a lot of software automation that has gone into it. And what we do is that because we have a shelf life to our product, our inventory also has a shelf life. And that is why we don't try to carry too much inventory, but we focus on a high inventory turnaround. So to enable that is where a data analytics plays a very important role. And how much do we stock? What do we stock and where do we stock is something that is working on the principles of theory of constraints, which is backed with a good software that is helping us map that well. And with that, we are able to make sure that the freshest possible product is available all the time for our consumers.
And it must be connected to any kind of quality control systems in place.
So our quality control system is both online and offline. And these systems are connected with our SAP. So that way, a lot of entries happen into the SAP, and that also helps us improve the traceability for every batch we produce.
So this starts from the sourcing of inventories to each process of manufacture.
So sourcing to inward to acceptance to processing to post processing, quality assurance, and then post sell, where we have control samples of the products we sell as well, and we keep testing it throughout the shelf life product as well, so as to make sure that whatever product could be in the market is something that is adhering to the standards that we are promising.
Yeah, because it is food. I mean, till the last stage of manufacturing, when it is packed, we still see that a lot of rejected material comes out to the bay. What criteria you use to do that? Because it's almost production is almost complete. What do you do for that?
So there are certain things which are process errors which are unavoidable, certain things which we try to work upon, and certain things where we try to also see the circular economy aspect of it. So it is a mix of solutions where we make sure that the wastage is something that is not total loss. So every process will have certain amount of wastage. How can we keep it in a zone is one of the KPI. The other KPI is that how can we utilize it in some manner or the other, where instead of throwing it away and making it non-utilizable, can we make sure that there is some life that comes out of it?
Yeah, talking about again, circular economy is also an interesting aspect of this business. Whatever the waste coming out, or how do you implement recycling as well as reuse of materials in the same premise?
So there are three factors I would say. One is the product waste. Certain things can be reused, certain things cannot be reused. So we have to make sure that they remain in control. The second would be the water and the water treatment, because a lot of water is consumed towards the process as well as for cleaning of the food equipment that we process. So making sure that this water is treated properly and it does not go out erratically is something that is our responsibility as a responsible manufacturer, and we try to do that. Third would be in terms of the packaging waste, because the packaging plays a very critical part in enabling us to reach our consumers. But while doing that, usually anything that is designed to preserve is not great to disintegrate. So how do we make sure that we use packaging which is more sustainable, usually which is more reliable in terms of rigidity, something that has reasonable enough thickness so that track pickers also pick it up and put it into the system for recycling, and also making sure that the layers inside this which are co-extruded are somewhere where we are able to reutilize plastic again, so that we are able to reduce the wastage that is going into the into the wastelands because of us.
Presently, are you envisaging any kind of net zero targets?
We are on target towards that. From a energy consumption perspective, we are already in a surplus. From a water and a zero discharge perspective, we are almost 90% there. The plastic waste is something that we have not been able to figure out very well, where we are compliant, but we are not into a zero discharge state right now. So that is what we want to do, so that we will be even more efficient in terms of being a manufacturer that is compliant to net zero necessities.
You spoke about the energy surplus factor. Are you using any kind of RE, renewable energy in this premise? Can you brief a little more about that?
So this premise has almost 60% of its supply coming in only from solar. We are also invested into wind farms, and we are also using open access to help us reduce our cost of electricity, because that is one of the important costs that we as manufacturers pay, especially in Maharashtra as a state. So whenever that cost is something that we are able to bring down the weighted average of it, we are more efficient as a manufacturer. So utilizing renewable energy becomes a very critical factor, because that is the only way we can control the cost. So we focus heavily on that. I think all Chitale Group entities have been working in some way or the other towards renewables, and we will continue investing more on projects which are helping renewability sustain well.
Talking about energy efficiency, predictive maintenance is very critical for enhancing energy efficiency. What you do as a regular practice in predictive maintenance of these entire systems?
Well, I think a lot of our uptime is linked to performance incentives also. So what we do is that we incentivize our people to make sure that the machine is available for the maximum amount of time. And for a machine to be available for the maximum amount of time, it needs to be maintained in the very systematic manner, where preventive maintenance becomes a more important task than breakdown maintenance. And for that, it is a mix of physical, digital, and nowadays IoT devices which help us understand how things are wearing out, what needs attention, what needs to be fixed, and how we can schedule something where we are minimally challenged in terms of machine availability for supply of goods. So that way, linking that is something that helps us be more productive and make sure that our machines are available for the longest amount of time.
So for that, in practice on the court, uh, how do you schedule that maintenance of this equipment?
So mostly that is a graveyard shift job that we have to do, because we, even at this time of the year when it is off season, we are still working about 18-20 hours a day. So we only get those 4 hours. And sometimes once the peak season starts, we probably get 1.5-2 hours every day, where we want to do deep cleaning and get the maintenance done. So that's why our teams are trained in a manner where we try to understand how Formula One team work, where the car is supposed to be in the pit stop only for 11 seconds and get out and run at 300 kilometers per hour. So while we don't have to run at 300 kilometers per hour, we probably have to do 3000 kgs an hour. And designing the team to be that effective is how we learn from Formula One, very honestly.
Yeah, again, preparing your team, what kind of training and development modules or practices in place here on regular basis?
So we have our own internal mechanism on how people are trained, because many of our equipment is special purpose, so there is not enough training that can be done in the market. So that way, one aspect we focus on training is the food safety, because that is critical. That is something that the consumer pays us for. Second is in terms of the engineering and the MEP work. So how do we focus on that is the second aspect of it. And the third is towards continual improvement, where we get in experts from outside and also help them go outside and look at what other industries are doing and benchmark our best practices against them, to keep a mechanism where we are always at the best in terms of delivering all of this. And that is where I think an all-round approach plays an important role.
Talking about again MEPs and thermal control in the presence of this facility, what kind of technologies you are adopting for maintaining thermal control in this?
So I think our latest boilers that have come in from Thermax, they are also IoT enabled, and that way they have tons of sensors. I mean, sometimes as a engineer, it astounds me how many sensors they have. But it's great because the new age engineers are also not very fond of opening everything up and trying to predict what could go wrong. So that way, these sensors are making the life easy for the next generation of engineers. And with so much data coming in on the PLC itself now, many of the things are getting better in terms of these heat treatment devices that are there.
Talking about your product range, more than 600 plus products you are present to. What kind of R&D efforts are going behind it?
So we have an independent R&D team. It is also located in the same plant, and their job is spread over three main verticals. One is towards research on what's new, what's better, what can be improved. Second is on development, where it could be new product development or it could be development of new systems or processes which can help us be more safer for our consumer. And the third would be in terms of critical innovation, where we are focusing on building IPs, and also processes where we are not just bypassing the curve of what is standard in the market, but making sure that we give our consumers far better value for money that they pay us for.
Little bit business side, if you can give us an idea about the kind of investment you must have already done in these two facilities here.
So overall, this campus, we've invested more than 200 crores over the last 5 years. We'll continue to invest more money here, with the simple intention that we want to build capacity, we want to build scale, and we'll continue achieving those top lines that help us make sure that the ROI for this investment is coming in. And I think the bigger investment has been in the people, because when we started, this was about 20 people working here, to which now we are about 600. So that way, we've been able to create sustainable employment for so many people is something that I consider an important job of corporate leadership in India. And I'm hoping we continue where we want to be at 1,000 people soon.
And it is exciting to hear that 600 employment, especially a place like this, how it must be impacting the ecosystem of this city.
Well, I personally like to believe that I think they have better quality of life compared to any person in urban India, simply because that way they are away from their home not more than 10-15 minutes. They have the luxury where they can continue with their ancestral farming business as well, while being gainfully employed in a fixed income job as well, and that way be close to their family where they are getting raised in a much more cleaner environment than what would be urban India. So I am hoping that is a good enough takeaway. That also motivates for me to come here and enjoy a better environment. So I am hoping that we create the same for the future generations as well.
And you are someone who is bringing Indian taste to the world with a better shelf life. Can you tell us that what is going to be there in the coming years that you are looking at as an expansion or a growth?
So our biggest focus has been towards the bar business, because the bar as a format of food consumption is going to increase much more rapidly in the coming decade, and that is why we have namkeen bars, we have health bars, we have protein bars, we have nutrition bars, we have sweet fruit bars as well, and these are products which are not necessarily always Indian in nature, but they can have Indian origins to it, but available and accessible for people across the world. So, how do we become a window where we as a brand appeal not just to the regular discerning Indian buyer, but also to people from different nationalities and ethnicities who want to try Indian food, but along with that, try good quality food. So, helping improve on the nutrition per every gram that we sell is where our focus is, and that is what we want to try and build.
That will be very exciting journey, and I believe that I asked whatever is there within my understanding. If you
Sure.
really want to add something more to that, you are please free to do it.
No, I think we covered a vast expanse, and I'm glad we could talk about this.
Absolutely, and it's our privilege to have you here. Thank you so much for interacting with us,
It's my pleasure.
and
Thank you.
best wishes for your future endeavors.
Thank you.